Sorry, we're going to go ahead and begin. Okay, let us open the meeting and as soon as you're ready. Okay, welcome back. Thank you for your patience on understanding we were ahead of schedule, and we're glad to wait for you to hear. So we're going to turn it over to the folks for the Rockwool Ransom Factory opposition. Gentlemen, introduce yourself and address, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Douglas Arnall, and I live in Hagerstown, and I'm representing the Washington County members of the Sierra Club.
My name is Brent Walls, Upper Potomac Riverkeeper, and I live in Williamsport.
That's how I know you. Well, go ahead and proceed with your.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
To continue then, is that too loud?
I never, no, we're good, you're good.
You're good? Okay. There are about 800 members of the Sierra Club in this county, and we are here to ask you to write a letter opposing the Rockwool plant being built near Kearneysville, West Virginia. This plant will cover 460,000 square feet, and it will have 2 exhaust stacks, each 21 stories tall. The plant will run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Every day, this plant will require delivery of 2,000 tons of stone. It will consume 125,000 gallons of water, and it will exhaust 425 tons of contaminant into the air. That's every day. The amount of pollutants coming from this plant will cause liver and kidney failure, commonly called VOX, will be at the rate of 150 tons a day. The amount of pollutants which cause cancer and birth defects, commonly called HAPs, will be 110 tons per day. Carbon dioxide being emitted will be 50 tons per day. These contaminants, plus other components, give a total of 850,000 pounds of pollution every day. In addition to the volume of all this stuff, we need to know something about its dispersion. Since West Virginia did not require Rockwool to provide dispersion modeling, we really do not know much about it. For example, how long will the contaminants remain in the air? How concentrated will they become as they flow along their path? What happens at night as the wind dies and air settles close to the ground? Will these pollutants become highly concentrated? We really don't know, and we really have no way of knowing due to the inadequate review by the authorities and the total secrecy surrounding this project. You will find this information in files numbers 20, 21, 22, and 24 of your packets, if you want to kind of follow along. Hopefully, some of you watched the YouTube video that we provided and have seen what a dusty, dirty, polluting, heavy industrial process this is. All the way from getting the rocks out of the ground to discharging the smog from its stacks, this process is just one unending stream of pollution, spewing into our air, gushing into our water, and accumulating in our environment. This plant is a worry to the public, not only because of its economic and environmental effects, but also for its human health effects. I'm a resident of Washington County. I would like to continue living here. However, I'd really like to know how my family is going to be affected by this pollution. I have some really good neighbors who have lung health issues. How are they going to be impacted by it? What is going to happen to our children? How are they going to be affected? The American Academy of Pediatrics discusses the dangers children will be encountering in such an environment, and you can find that in file number 10 of your packets. There's no question Washington County residents will be affected by this plant. Those in South County will be impacted on a daily basis. The rest of us, including Hagerstown, will be definitely impacted whenever the wind blows our way from the south, southwest, or southeast. This plant is a danger. It is a danger to our way of life. It is a danger to our wildlife. It is a danger to our environment, and especially it is a danger to our personal health and well-being. We ask you, the Commissioners of Washington County, to add your letter of strong opposition to the building of this plant. Sending a letter may seem like an insignificant thing to do, but it shows that Washington County is as concerned about this threat as others. Thank you very much for your time and consideration to this very important issue.
Thank you. I'm here to support Doug and to let you all know our thoughts on the Rockwell facility and how it's connected to the Potomac pipeline. So the Rockwell facility, I know that it's in Jefferson County, it's in West Virginia. The air dispersion models are completely unknown, like Doug had stated. So we don't know exactly what kind of particulate impact is going to be on Washington County residents coming over the river. The wind blows in various different directions a number of different times. So there will be an impact. And as far as the site itself, and the number of problems and environmental issues they're unsurmountable. You have karst geology in the area. You have sinkholes that have already been found on site that they tried to hide and cover up. You have the particulate matter. You have the wastewater that's going to be discharged into Shenandoah. It is not a clean process. It's energy intensive. It is produces a material that is not recyclable. It is not. It's a hardened, fibered insulation that once it's removed during demolition after it's spent its life doing its job, can't be recycled. It has to be destroyed, and it's extremely hazardous to personal health for the removal process. So it is not a great product that they're producing. The Potomac pipeline, which I've been before you a number of different times, and I thank you very much for the support that you've shown, your concern over the pipeline, what kind of gas is going to go through there, what kind of impact it's going to be on your water to Washington County and to the local municipalities in the area. I thank you again for your support. So what had happened, just to kind of refresh your memories, the Board of Public Works on January 2nd of this year said no to a request for Columbia Gas to get a right-of-way permit across state property, the Rails to Trail property up by Hancock, which is adjacent to the C&O Canal. Because they said no and they had full authority, the Maryland governor, the comptroller, and the treasurer, since they had full authority to say no, that pretty much halted Columbia Gas in constructing that pipeline. Now, this pipeline is the source of energy for Rockwell. There are really no other clients that we know of for this pipeline. This has been, and from the very beginning, the sole endpoint, so to speak, for this pipeline. If this pipeline does cease to continue and the project fails completely, the Rockwell facility just may go under completely. So what has happened since then is Columbia Gas, I'm sure you've heard, Columbia Gas has filed a lawsuit against Maryland attorney, the state of Maryland, essentially the Department of Natural Resources. We are waiting to hear from them to make a public statement, but we have been in communication with the Attorney General's office, with Maryland, and the representatives of Maryland DNR. They will be fighting this. Essentially, it is Columbia Gas trying to take state land through the use of eminent domain because it's a federal project. If they succeed in taking state land, then they are able to then use that precedence to take other state land throughout the state and other states across the nation. So this is a very, very, very important case. There are no other cases that we can find in the literature and the research that allows an industry to take state land through use of eminent domain for a federal project. So again, Doug asked you to write a letter to oppose the Rockwell facility, which will add to the number of other municipalities, both in Maryland and in West Virginia, that are opposing, all downwind, that are opposing the Rockwell facility. But we are also asking you to write a letter in conjunction with your state legislators that support the Maryland Attorney General and Maryland Department of Natural Resources to defend their right to do what they feel is necessary with state property. And that's pretty much it, so I'm open to questions. Both are.
You're looking for a letter.
2 letters.
2 letters.
2 letters.
So how would, I guess, if we were to support both letters, then you would work with staff to
Yes.
language in that letter.
Yeah, there's some company documents, other letters who've have said
Yeah, some
things that we
examples
could-
in there.
If you want
Right.
to supply us any information so we can frame a letter around it, we'll use these other letters that
Sure.
copy,
Yep.
and then I guess we'll check with our delegation to make sure where they're at. Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I will send you the letter that the delegation has actually drafted, but they have not released yet.
Okay. Maybe we can work in concert with them on what they're drafting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all in support of both letters.
All right, commissioners, any other questions for the gentleman?
Do we need a motion or just a consensus?
Consensus, I guess, for the letter. Is that all we need?
What we typically
Either
do,
way.
commissioners, is draft the letter for you, then you will see that before it is
Yeah.
executed by the
Yeah,
president.
then we'll,
likely.
okay, deal.
I support a letter too. I think, first, it's important, I think, that we back up some of our communities in Washington County that have also expressed this concern. But I think it's also in keeping with this board has, I think, done a good effort, this board and past boards, to be environmentally conscious. Our letter that we wrote for the pipeline up in Hancock,
exactly.
we oppose that. So I think it's very in keeping with what we've done.
We just had a gentleman a little while ago, we've preserved 44,000 acres in Washington County for ever preservation purposes.
Yeah, and that's
So,
great. I congratulate you on that effort. I really do.
Just one technical question for you. 2 letters, what differentiates those 2 letters? I missed that. I'm sorry.
Well, one letter would be routed to, I guess, West Virginia legislators and the local
Perhaps you could
leaders.
provide that
County
direct
commission.
Right. Yeah.
mailing, and then the other's conjunction with the delegation of the letter.
Right. Correct.
We'll work with the state.
Correct.
Get with Chairman Wyville, we'll see how that's
We
going.
just get them both together and send them at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen down here, any other questions for him, or? All right, Tom,
Thank you for coming in.
thank you very much.
right.
Thanks for being
Good.
patient with us. and
Thank you.
everything.
Appreciate for holding it.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Oh, time frame. Did we talk about a time frame?
Yeah, time frame. So Rockwell is in the state of activity right now.
Fall of 2020 is their planned completion date.
So, I mean, I think it would be eminently in the time frame as the Potomac Pipeline letter.
Yeah.
Which would be in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, perfect. That's all I wanted to know. Yep. Hey, thank you.
Commissioners, with nothing